My name is Prateek Chandrabhan. I am a PhD student at the University of Glasgow. In this video, I present my job market paper titled Do Role Models Increase Student Hope and Effort? Evidence from India. So, this is a randomized controlled trial that was conducted in 2019 in India. I will start by giving you a brief background about the literature, followed by a discussion on the intervention and the methodology. We will then talk about the empirical strategy, followed by the results. Hope is a fundamental capability akin to health, good nutrition, and education. This is something that is presented in the book Poor Economics. Hope is defined by Snyder as a combination of agency and pathways. Central to this definition is a goal-directed thinking, which is the intrinsic motivation or agency, and in the process, the multiple ways that are envisioned towards reaching that goal or pathways. Although growing, there is a dearth of treatment interventions that aim to assess whether hope is malleable. Can it be increased? And if so, within the framework of its predictive capabilities, what are the consequences of doing so? And this is somewhere that I contribute. Another strand of contribution is in the role modeling literature. There's plethora of evidence that role models can influence human behavior. May it be the effect on fertility decisions in Brazil, or raising aspirations in Indonesia or Ethiopia, or increasing student performance in Uganda. The theory of change is fairly simple. I measure student hope, effort, and performance in primary schools. We have a role modeling intervention, and the idea is that it should have an effect on student effort and it should foster hope. Together, they would have an effect on students' academic performance. The questions that I aim to answer is, do role models increase student hope, effort, or student performance? I find that there is an increase in student hope, and the increase is the highest in the lowest hope quantile of students measured at baseline. Hope increased by 0.17 standard deviations right after the intervention. There was an increase in self-efficacy or optimism. Happiness also increased 1 week after the intervention, and the effects stayed the same after 6 weeks. I find that effort increased both in a substitution class and a remedial class after the intervention. Student attendance increased by 0.02 standard deviations 5 months after the intervention, and I also find an increase in English scores. I did a baseline in the 3rd week of August, which was followed by an intervention and endline in the last week of August. I waited for a week, and then I had a week-long follow-up survey, waited for another 4 weeks, and did the final follow-up survey, which was 6 weeks after the intervention. The treatment consisted of a 30-minute role modeling video titled Hope is Real, and the placebo group saw a 30-minute video of a kids' television show called Malgudi Days. Nice to meet you. My name is Pradeep. I'm from the University of Glasgow. So now all the fieldwork is done and the return trip begins. I use a difference in differences analysis where alpha 3 is the coefficient of interest. The hypothesis is the motivational video has no effect on the outcome variable. For heterogeneity, I tweak this and add this extra dummy of interaction based on gender, on past performance, and on age. I also perform an ANCOVA analysis in which the coefficient of interest is beta 3, and I also look at overall average treatment effects. The descriptive difference in differences show that the treatment works. There was an increase in hope right after the intervention, also for self-efficacy or optimism, and the effort in substitution class. A quick depiction of the point estimate shows that there was an increase in student hope. Immediately after the intervention, the effects from the increase in student hope are still sustained for the treatment group 6 weeks after the intervention. It's because of these spillovers that I do not detect any treatment effect after 6 weeks. I find that there is an increase in the self-efficacy right after the intervention, and this effect is significant even after 6 weeks. In case of effort, I find that there's no increase in student effort measured by the remedial class up until 1 week after, but after 6 weeks, there's a strong increase which is measured by the treatment effects from the pool sample. In case of achievement, I do not find any effects on math scores, but I do find a strong and significant effect on English scores, as can be seen here. The overall treatment effect was positive on hope, positive and significant for optimism, and positive and significant for effort and English scores. I also find that the attendance increased for these students after 5 months, and the effect was also significant for the overall sample. Kids below the median age had a higher effect on their self-efficacy and optimism, but I do not find any such effects for effort and achievement. I also find that the treatment had a higher effect on younger girls, so the girls that were below median age. I did a set of robustness checks. I winterized my sample at 1 and 5%, and the effects still hold. For the portrait, I compared the naive p-values with the family-wise error rate and the adjusted p-values, and the results are still holding and significant. I also did a set of validation checks using qualitative information from the school teachers. The treatment effects are comparable to many other studies. To conclude, I would like to say that a 30-minute role modeling intervention had the following effects. The psychological outcomes increased, and I also find that there is an effect on student effort and performance measured by English scores.
I decided to study hope because it is something that I strongly believe in. Hope can be a powerful tool to address poverty, specifically the hopelessness-based poverty trap. If we can increase hope, maybe we can address hopelessness and aspiration failures. Hope is real, and this is what I want to show through my research.